What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja here, and today we are going to be talking about Operation Deadly Omen. The reveal was earlier today. Finally got a chance to get through it and make you guys a video, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, there are three things we're going to be talking about. 3.5. We'll talk about anti-cheat a little bit because they did make substantial changes. Let's see how things play out. But there are going to be three things we'll talk about. First, the Shield rework. Secondly, will be the attachments rework or reshuffling, whatever maybe you want to call that. And then 3 will be the new Operator Deimos, who is familiar in the world of Siege for those who paid attention to cutscenes and kind of the story going on. Me, myself, not too much, but again, I understand the basics about Deimos, and he is certainly adding something to the attacking side that has been sorely missed, but also maybe one of the more powerful trackers to ever step foot in Siege as of now. So we'll talk about that later in the video. Friendly reminder that all these points of the video will be timestamped for you guys. If you guys are just curious about one part and not the other, feel free to check out those timestamps. But first up on the list, let's talk about the Shield rework. This is an interesting rework, to say the least. And the reason why I say interesting is because it's going to give tons of power to an operator like Blitz, but at the same time, just enhance other shields to be better defensive, shields, if that makes any sense. So for example, you will not be exposing yourself at all when it comes to being behind the shield, except for the fact of like you standing up, for example, if you're not Monty and extended. You will be exposing yourself via your legs. When it comes to your head, your arms, and stuff like that, you will not be exposing yourself. The reason for that is because they want to eliminate the random lottery headshot that shield operators would introduce, because you were like, hey, yeah, cool, I'm just going to keep shooting until I maybe get a headshot or tap them a little bit. It was very random, really wasn't consistent gunfights, so they want to add a 90%, defensive ability for shield ops, and then that 10% aggressive if you guys want to ADS and utilize it. But, for example, Blitz is an operator that is really powerful. So now every shield is running like Blitz, but Blitz still maintains that, and then is the fact that he is behind a shield and protective. So Blitz can be a very, very, very powerful operator. We'll see how things play out. I do think it's too early to tell. Initial impressions is that the Shield rework will definitely be a massive introduction into the meta for attackers in both ranked and pros. So that should be intriguing. Let's see how things play out. But yeah. Get ready to see a lot of Blitz play, a lot of Blitz aggression. So bring those trap ops, whatever it may be. Now, we talked about the Shield rework. Let's talk about attachments and the ADS changes. The ADS changes will be first because they're pretty different. So for example, we're adding new grips like a horizontal grip for movement speed, which is intriguing. Increases your movement speed by 10%. So that is something that is worthwhile potentially. Now the catch is you won't have a vertical recoil bonus from vertical grip or a reload bonus now with the angled grip. So you are making a trade-off, but let's see how things play out there. Those of you guys who are using recoil macros, then yeah, shame on you. You guys will probably be abusing that horizontal grip. But altogether, interesting change. Angle grip used to be an ADS bonus. Wasn't really worth much. So now they made it more of a reload speed bonus, which is honestly something intriguing. It is a 20% bonus, so let's see how things play out in that regard. Laser sights, instead of the tighter hipfire, they are now having it increase ADS time, which is by 15%, which is nice. I don't know if the trade-off of being visible is going to be worthwhile, but hey, let's see how players utilize it. That 15% bonus should definitely be something worthwhile and intriguing. Now, the more complicated feeling change here will be the optics that are being reshuffled. So back in the day when Siege first came out, there were basically 3 different types of optics. There you had the iron sights, you had the one-time sights, and you had the ACOGs, which were 2.5 sights. Now in Siege, or at least before this operation, because these are changing, we had iron sights, we had one-times optics, we had 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. There was a lot of variety in magnifications for the player to choose from, and that kind of caused an issue, for example, with 1.5s really just being the end-all be-all for the most part in certain cases, if you guys could utilize them. But now we're removing the 1.5 magnification and we're reshuffling it down to 4 different areas. So we have iron sights, we have one-time sights, we have 2.5 sights, and then we have 3.5 times optics. Now, tied to these optics will be an ADS bonus. So if I am mistaken, I may be a little bit wrong here, pretty late, pretty tired. Iron sights will give you guys a 10% increase in ADS speed. The only scenario I will use this is with Iron Sight's MP7 for Bandit, so that should be intriguing. And then after that, I believe it's a 5% bonus increase to ADS for 1 times, and then after that there is no bonus, which is intriguing. I think that's perfectly fine to balance it out. But the reshuffle to old school style of optics is intriguing because I felt like we were in a better place, but we'll see how things go. A lot of operators will have a 2.5 sight, which is reminiscent to the old days of Siege. For example, Ashe is now getting her ACOG back, which is certainly something for players to kind of be intrigued by. Will Jaeger get his ACOG back? Will Bandit get his ACOG back? I don't know, but that should be intriguing. Also important to mention that the 1.5 looking optic will now be a 2.5 optic. So don't worry if you guys like that look of the 1.5 sight. It is now going to be part of the 2.5 sight, which honestly, I love how the circle looks for the 1.5. So it'll be nice to see that turn into a 2.5. We'll see how the balance plays out there. Now, let's talk about balance, because Deimos is certainly going to be questioning a ton of it. So Deimos is going to be a 2 health, 2 speed operator, and he is going to be a new version of Jackal that has some pros and rarely cons. The one con is that you are exposing yourself in a degree, but the pros, man, Jesus Christ. This is going to be a powerhouse in coordinated teams, especially if he's on the board. It's going to be an automatic ban in my opinion. I think Jackal's going to see a lot more play. Again, it is early to tell, and you can't really see this ping at all when it comes to other teammates, you know, seeing your live ping. Again, this ping is live. But before getting a little ahead of ourselves, let's talk about his gadget so we understand this whole thing. Deimos will have a little nano drone that gets higher and higher throughout the match. So he starts off with 0, and as the match progresses, the longer he's on the board, he gets 1 to 2 to 3 of these little mini helicopters. Now, the catch to these mini helicopters is that he can literally have it target any operator on the defending team that has been revealed. So if you guys have been red pinged or you guys have been notified via the icons in the top of the screen, you are vulnerable to Deimos's helicopter or nano helicopter. This will fly onto your screen and live track you for the duration. Now, there are ways to counter this, more on that later, but this is going to be powerful in the hands of Deimos because he sees that live ping. But there is a catch. He is also emitting his ping to whoever he's tracking. So it isn't live, but it is like a line ping so they can see where you're going and where you're coming from. And it is kind of a trade-off, which I do think is balanced in some way. And the other caveat is he can't use his primary when he's doing this. He has to use his secondary pistol, but his secondary pistol looks pretty damn powerful. It's a new weapon, the .44 Vendetta. It has a clean, looks like a 1.5 optic on it, which is funny because they removed 1.5s, but that's what the magnification looks like. And yeah, this thing can be powerful in the right hands, which does look interesting. Now, the main reason I think this is going to be drastic to kind of how we play in ban ops is because he can coordinate this with his team. He can target people specifically. This is powerful if you're not an operator like Vigil, which I think is the only operator to effectively get away from this ability because he can block it. Now, when you're activating this, it will tell you that Valkyrie has been targeted by Deimos, for example, and it will give the notification, and there is that trade-off of the operator seeing you. So there is a lot of coordination that is tied to this operator, whether you are there on the receiving end or you're on the attacking end. So all this stuff is definitely interesting. He's gonna allow for the wrong ops to get destroyed on roam and just flushed out. You can use this with Blitz. We can use this as entry flaggers like Buck or Ashe. Yeah, this is going to be intriguing, and this is a very ballsy type of operator that I'm all for because it allows an operator like Jackal to potentially kind of be in the mix. Same thing with Dokebi. These are operators that are insta bans in my lobby. It's unfortunate, but hey, that's the state of the game. Those ops are effective at clearing roamers, and we have another one to add to that list, so maybe we can get a little bit better trade-off with stuff like that. Now, some of the operators that can counter him is Mute, Vigil, and Tabaro. Tabaro can kind of freeze his gadget, so he just throws it on his feet, and that helps with the blocking. Mute can stop him from locking onto him if he gets to a mute in time, or he can stop the live ping by staying on a mute. But once he leaves that mute charge, he is live ping as you see on screen. Vigil, on the other hand, is a more direct counter. What he does here is he can altogether block it with his gadget, which does make sense. It's, you know, a computer, or at least a drone in some sense. So Vigil's whole thing is blocking his line of sights from drones with his gadget, which makes sense. So altogether, Vigil is a very powerful roamer that probably will see a ton of roaming play when this operator is available to use. And unfortunately, this will be not bannable right off the bat. So you're gonna have to deal with this. We're gonna have to learn how to fight it off, learn how to use it. So Deimos is gonna be a very intriguing foe to be on the receiving side, and a very fun attacker potentially when using, which hopefully should balance out the kind of balance that we have right now with a very defender friendly sandbox to play with. Now, before we give, any closing thoughts, let's talk about anti-cheat. They're adding a little bit more restrictions, which I don't know how much will play into it. If anyone in the comments wants to let me know, leave your thoughts on it. Basically, you need to be playing from the season before. There's an inactive. There's requirements if you guys were inactive to get into a thing, plus the 50 clearance. And then now you need to also own 10 attackers, 10 defenders. Let's see how much that really helps things on the minuscule side. Now, on top of that, they're changing the collection of how we catch these cheaters. Before, it was in-game reporting and stuff like that and monitoring. As you could tell, that hasn't really worked out. So we're adding game data to this to kind of learn on the go and identify these guys a little bit better. Will this mean anything? Let's see. Not sure. I'm optimistic, but also pessimistic at the same time, because cheaters always find a way to cheat in one way or another. So that's how I feel on it. But altogether, this reveal was insane. It was absolutely insane. The first season sounds like it's going to be an absolute blast and a breath of fresh air for Siege itself. After that, we have to wait and see. Tomorrow, we should have more details on the full Year 9 experience and get more clarity on what the hell is going on and stuff like that, which is intriguing to say the least. But for more details like that, and you guys are new here and you want all that information broken down to you in a condensed way like this, definitely be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I do drop that stuff. If you guys are new here, we got some content planned for you guys tomorrow regarding this reveal of Year 9 of Siege. But leave your thoughts down below on Operation Deadly Omen. How's it looking for you guys? It's certainly going to be intriguing on my end. Curious to say the least. But if you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop this video a like. Helps with the video a ton. And like I said before, for more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell to notify when I do drop more videos. But besides that, hope you guys have a good one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.